Good evening, everyone. That's quite a humble way to begin my show. No, I don't begin my shows like that. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Douglas Logedi. As you know, we've been here quite a few times, so you clearly know the drill. I'm the author of Chasing a Bullet and the host of this amazing show called Your Story Today. Now, in this show, we do a lot of things. Some of the things we do is, discuss books. Sometimes we discuss food. No, we've not discussed food yet, but we'll be discussing a lot of food. Let me first of all start this show in a different way by giving you some fact that may not be a fact. A few weeks ago, research came out and it said that Kenyans are twice as depressed after or during the coronavirus pandemic as they were before. So, if you had one friend who was depressed, now you have two. And probably you are the second one. So hopefully you are not the second one. That's a fact that does not have anything to do with this show today. But then that particular survey also said that, one of the ways to reduce depression is to travel and is to be with nature, is actually to look at water. To look at water. Now, it's very cold in Nairobi today. I think the temperature right now is about 13 degrees Celsius where I am. And as the saying goes, showering right now is a form of show off. So looking at water is a form of show off. So do not show off, be humble. Anyways, today I have very much amazing guests for you. My guests for you today are all about travel. They are all about life coaching. They are all about making money. And they're all about being rich. Now, I am very rich, if you believe that I'm rich. And I'm also as rich as I believe I am. I'll be buying a chopper very soon. Don't even worry about that. So today we are going to discuss a lot of things about money and travel. And this is going to be the least thing about books and reading. But then, as you travel, you also read a lot. They'll also be telling us about that. But I want you to be excited today because we are going to tell you how to travel, how to save for travels. My guests today are going to help you to understand how themselves they save to travel. They are going to help you understand how they manage to travel to different countries. I have traveled a lot, but mostly within Kenya. So I'll also be in the show to learn more about how I can travel across the world, because then that's what we all want, to have a fun life where we can all travel. Okay, dokie. Before I bore you a lot with my very, very crazy voice, I want to welcome my guest today. So where do I start? Let me start with our resident guest, because she's been here a lot. She knows the drill. We always have fun when we have her on the show. So let me start by introducing Shila Chebet. Now, before I bring her on screen, Shila Chebet is the founder and lead coach at Gene Coaching School. Now, I was told last time that I just called it Gene Coaching. I need to add school to it, because Gene Coaching is a school, just like you hear. It's a life coaching school. It's a school that teaches you a lot of things about yourself and about also the life that you live in. Shila Chebet is an Africanist. Now, she believes in Africa more than some of us who live here, and she'll be telling us a bit about that. And she sees it from a bird's eye point of view. I'm giving her a very huge profile so that she'll have trouble introducing herself when she comes. She's also a travel enthusiast. She's a herbalist, and she's very many things. If I have said a lie about any of those, Shila, as you come on the screen, start by correcting it. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. You haven't said a lie. If anything, you haven't extended it. You haven't gone further. But anyway, thank you. It's an honor to be back. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here. So thank you. Thank you very much. Why is it a pleasure to be here? Yes, I was here a month ago, and it's taken quite a long time before you brought me back. So I don't know whether I should get annoyed or. But anyway, I'm happy I'm here. I'm here today. As you introduced, you said I'm a travel enthusiast. Yes, I travel extensively within Kenya, where I live, where I come from, within UK, where I'm currently a resident, within Europe, within Africa, within everywhere, really. The world is mine to travel. So. And today we talk about the traveling, we talk about the barriers to travel, we talk about how you can start traveling, and we talk about why you should travel. Now, because this is Writers Guild, we talk about books. I would say traveling and books are they're good bedfellows. They share a bed well. So because when you travel, like someone like me who's a writer, I get a lot of writing ideas. I get a lot of memories that I could share. I get a lot of ideas. There's so many creative things you can think of. You can think of places you can set a story. You can think of a journey. You know, stories are like a journey. So they're almost like traveling. So there is a lot of fodder you can get just from traveling. Instead of just sitting in that closed space, and then when you're writing, you're only writing with that limited view. When you travel, there's a lot to write about. But yes, the introduction is very correct. I'm a herbalist, yes. I'm also a life coach. So I coach on things to do with life. Traveling is part and parcel of the things we talk about in life coaching. I'm also a personal trainer, exercise, fitness, my thing. And to travel, you realize you really need to be fit. Yes, the running at the airport, the running for trains, the running, yes. But thank you, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for those that have tuned in. Thank you, thank you. We're going to have a fabulous time together.
I was warned. I was told that if I marry not a life coach really, a personal trainer, I will have to work out by force. But no, we will not go into that today. That's a story for another day. Perhaps I should marry a personal trainer. Anyways, before we we can start here and then we continue talking, and we forget that we have another guest that we need to bring on set. So before we forget, let me bring to you guys Kenneth Joe. Now, Ken is a very interesting person. Ken is also so much into fitness, but he won't tell us about fitness today. But Ken loves traveling and Ken loves money. Now, does anyone really not love money? I also love money, but yeah, Ken loves money. So Ken is the founder and is the lead moderator for a YouTube channel we call Ken's Money Matters. Now, if you don't know about Ken's Money Matters and you are watching this right now, we have a conversation to pick. Just go to YouTube right now, leave the live show for a minute, just go to YouTube, find Ken's Money Matters, subscribe, like, and comment. I was told something recently. Subscribe right down below. Anyways, so Ken runs Ken's Money Matters. Ken's Money Matters basically gives you a lot of tips on money. He tells you about investment. He tells you about stocks. He tells you about how you can save for travel. And, when he is bored, he also does videos where he's doing them from the golf course. Anyways, so I want to bring you Ken right now, and Ken will introduce himself in a minute. And if I've said something that is not true, Ken will also tell us. Ken, first of all, why do you do videos from the golf course?
I like that introduction, Logedi. That's an interesting introduction.
What have I not said about yourself?
I love nature. I love nature. So I'm always out there. Every single day I go walking around my neighborhood, which is quite beautiful, to be honest. So I have a lot of nature around me. And one of the videos I'm releasing soon is about collecting herbs and how it helps you save money. Again, that is shot from the bush. So you see, my money is different and quite practical. Huh? So okay. Yeah. Anyway,
for the benefit of the viewers, you did a video recently where you are talking to some people, and then in the middle of the conversation, you started talking about why monkeys have blue balls.
I had a video that was in Oljet and Anyuki, and you were part of that team that was talking about blue balls. I bet you were actually moderating the team.
I did not discuss blue balls, no.
So yes, one of us identified the monkey, including Shila. Shila was actually the first one. Shila and Gito were the first people to spot that the monkeys have blue and orange balls. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. I'm Kenneth Joe, like has been said. I'm the co-founder of Gene Coaching School. That's another big thing. I run Ken's Money Matters YouTube channel, like Logedi said. It's all about money, all about finance, and we have an approach that is very different. It's very practical, very direct, and very easy to follow for you to build wealth. And I'm out here to teach people how to build wealth and break those curses of people say, you will never be rich. No, we're gonna be rich. So in Ken's Money Matters, we talk about, and we're going to get rich.
I love that.
So yes, I guess I'll the rest of my profile in the process of talking.
Perfect. I totally love that. I totally love your channel and what you talk about. Just in case anyone is doubting, I am subscribed and I get notifications from Ken's channel all the time, because then I want to be rich. I love being rich. I love money. Anyways, so today we are going to talk about money and travel, really. And before anyone accuses us of talking about something that everyone talks about, money and travel has been talked about a lot. But then money and travel is always talked about as an outward issue instead of an inward issue. So people never discuss this travel thing like something that they can really personally do. So I want to start by surprising people a bit. And let me start by Shila. How many countries have you visited?
What I know is that last year I visited around 17 countries. And this year, and when I say, yes, and when I say 17 countries, I'm not counting the visits I did within the UK itself. And this year, even with Corona, I think I've visited around maybe 9 countries. I don't count them. That's the thing. I don't count. I'm even traveling next week as well. I'm going to... in terms of traveling, and the country that I'm going to next week is a country that I've been 4 times before. So I am going to a different city in the same country. So I'm going to a new place altogether. So even one country, you can go so many places. So even if you're within Kenya, you don't have to say how many countries you've gone. You can say how many towns or how many new places. But the whole idea is that I don't keep count, because I don't travel to tick a box. I travel for many other reasons, yes. The reason I'm saying 17 countries is because I was filling some document somewhere and I needed to kind of get the details, but I think roughly around that, yes. I think.
It's pretty interesting, because you kind of don't think about how many countries you are visiting when you are visiting them. But for people like myself who are thinking, I want to emulate Sheila, and then we start thinking, okay, fine, relax a bit. How many countries exactly has she visited? But that's quite a story for another day. Now, Ken, how many countries have you visited?
Just to correct Sheila, I know Sheila quite well. She's not visited 17 countries. That was last year, maybe. She's visited so many countries because I traveled with her. She's visited so many this year. And she's visited countries in Africa before she moved to the UK. So if we do a count, Sheila has visited so many countries. Personally, I'm sure I've visited more than 100 countries. We should actually be counting the countries we have not visited, not the countries we have visited. To make it easy for you, we should count the countries we have not visited, because then you just do the subtraction and get the number. But I'm sure I've done over 100, because I started traveling a long time ago. I also had a job that I used to travel a lot, even before I started traveling for leisure. So I have gone to so many countries. But that's the issue, like Sheila said. The main thing we should always say is, how frequent do you travel? Because traveling can involve going to the bush next to you. For me, that's travel. Actually, when I'm compiling my videos, you do see me even talking about the UK and different towns. I did a video on Liverpool. I did a video on Leeds. I did a video on Wales, which is within the UK. I did one Scotland. You see, these are all places within the UK. So I may actually say that I have done 100 countries. But in real sense, if you ask me how many times have you traveled, it's much, much more than 100 countries. And like Sheila said, we're also going to Spain, which she has visited 3 times before. So she's going for the 4th time. So in that sense, if you're counting the number of countries she's gone to, you become a bit unfair, because she's gone to one place 4 times in different towns. So yes, we have gone to so many places, I would say.
That helps people like myself who have gone to Uganda 9 times, because then it means I've traveled also a lot. Now, let's start from you, Ken, because you run Ken's Money Matters, and I want to start this from a bit of an off point. When you travel and speak to people who get surprised about how you travel, then what is the biggest misconception that you hear about traveling?
The biggest misconception, this is different depending on cultures, depending on where people stay, and depending on where the misconception is coming from. Most of them come from Kenya. Of course, that's my country, so I relate to a lot of people from there. And they think or tend to think that I'm extremely rich and I'm not doing anything in my life besides traveling. So yeah, that's the perception. I am not saying I'm rich. I'm not poor for sure, but I'm not extremely rich, and I'm still working for money. Every single day, I still work for more money. So people tend to ask me in my inbox. They ask me, "What do you do in your life? How do you get the money?" You see, so people focus so much on the money and not the fact that I can manage to travel and how they can get there. They focus more on you're so rich, and you know, you find things so easy. And some people even told me that I was born with a silver spoon, that I don't work. Now those are people who truly do not know my history. So yes, that's the that's the biggest misconception. Yes.
And Sheila, from your point of view, somebody said this to me some time back. I don't know how true it is, that travel is just as mental as it is financial and physical, because then some people, you know, have got themselves mentally trapped in this thing that I need to have millions to travel. From a life coach point of view, would you say that is true?
From a life coaching point of view, I'll say that is not true. For you to travel, you don't even need money, first and foremost. You don't even need to look for money to travel. For you to travel, the first thing you need to look for is energy. The energy is that will to travel, that intention to travel. Once you've already set that energy and you say, I am going to travel in this place, that is the what. Don't think of the how or the why or whatever. Just think of what you want to do. So say, I want to go here, or I want to travel here. That is the energy you have put forth to the universe. Once you've already put the energy out there, you now start looking at the time. And the time, you also pick the time and say, I want to travel from here. Once you've sorted out the energy, the time will come naturally. And once the time is there and the energy is there, money will come. This is the thing whereby suddenly out of the blues, you get a tax refund, or someone said, hey, come, we are coming here, come join us for this travel. Or, oh, Logedi has disappeared. Anyway, we'll keep talking. I can't see Logedi, he's disappeared. He should be back soon. So I'll keep on talking to the people. So for you to travel, what you need to create that energy. You need to sum up that energy. And then after you've summed up that energy, you need to get the time. And you need to release your time. Your time should be as important. The time to travel should be as important as the time you take to go to the toilet, or the time you take to go to work. You know, it should be important. It should be factored in your day, in your calendar. So once you factor those two, the time and the energy, money will come. Now, people go about it the wrong way. People think of money first, and they think of money in terms of scarcity, how they don't have money for traveling. And immediately you say you don't have money for traveling, that means that is the energy you're putting out there. So you're already saying, I don't have money for traveling. You're saying, I don't have the energy for that. You know, when you say that, you're never going to travel. And that brings us to this other myth of saving for travel. All the people that are saving for travel, they never travel. They stay put saving. And immediately that money reaches like it's enough, whatever they were saving for, they go check the price already went high. The holiday place sent, the tickets went high, the venue went high, everything went high, yeah? Or at the time the money is just ready, someone's child is bitten by a snake, and a WhatsApp group is formed to raise the funds, and your travel money suddenly goes to the funds there. So you end up not traveling. So the thing with the traveling, don't start focusing on the money. Focus on the energy and focus on the time. Money will come.
A very good thing that you say there, because then a lot of people think traveling is a big thing, a big money thing. And they're always trying to chase the next dollar, because then that is where you travel from. But then, so let me come back to you, Ken, for a moment. What is the financial barrier to travel? Because then we can't ignore the fact that you'll spend when you travel in this other country. What is the big financial barrier that people face in terms of travel?
Thank you. I like the topic money and travel, and as you know, I run a series called Money and Traveling on my channel. The reason why I do this is because traveling is a big thing among us, and it's something that is underrated. We don't discuss it as much. It's also important that we realize that every single thing in our life is connected to finance. I just want to put that out there so we know that we are dealing with a financial issue. So even if I'm addressing it from a financial perspective, And I'm also saying that it's extremely important, just the same way Shila said, as the same way you go to the toilet, that's like something you have to do. It's the same way I feel a human being has to travel. The reasons are so many we can't start enumerating right now, but the benefits are also so many. So besides that, the financial barriers that people face, I would be honest, like Sheila just said, I don't focus so much on the financial part when I'm traveling. I don't focus so much on the money part because that's what has made us not travel so far. So if we focus so much on the barriers and the financial barriers, and I start telling people these are the barriers we face, they may still get discouraged. Already we are discouraged lots. So if I talk so much about the barriers, they will be even more discouraged to travel. So I'm going to be a bit more positive, and I'm going to give those slight, I call them very small barriers, but I'm going to give very good ways of tackling such issues. Number one that Sheila actually mentioned is the intention to travel. Some people have that financial barrier even before they have an intention to travel. There's no way you're going to achieve something by thinking of the obstacles and not the possibilities before you begin. So I believe when it comes to traveling, our biggest barrier is not finance, it's our mental capacity to actually know that we can actually do it. So most people, like I told you earlier, most people assume it is expensive. So from there on, that's the biggest barrier for them, not for me. From there on, they're already thinking, okay, going to Uganda, for example, you said you went to Uganda, it's going to take me a lot of money. But I find that that barrier is actually not, it's not about the money they have. It's about the fact that they're not willing to step out of their comfort zone and do it and try. So you find that people do not even get to the level of, I do not actually have the money. They don't even get there, Logedi. They get to the point whereby they have this stereotype, the beliefs that it is expensive. So from there on, they don't think beyond that. So it means literally or logically, they do not even get to the point whereby they actually lack the money. You understand? A lot of people actually may have that money in their bank account. They have their bills. These people pay their bills all the time. Most of these people who talk about financial barriers pay their rents every single month, and they pay on time. These people pay their electricity bills. They pay their water bills every single month. They've never faulted on that. But they will clearly tell you that they cannot manage to travel to Mombasa, to Uganda, or to Tanzania. So in that sense, you may think it's a financial barrier, but in real sense, is it a financial barrier? It is a mindset barrier. The financial barrier is perceived. It is not real. Now, if you think of it in a real sense, there are also many ways in which people can go around this. Nowadays in Kenya, for example, there are so many packages offered by so many tour travels. These are travel agencies that you can actually travel with. They're not expensive anymore. So even if you were to talk about the financial barriers, I'm sure any normal person who is working a 9-to-5 job or doing a business and paying their bills is in a position to still pay these things. And you can actually pay them in installments. I know this quite well. You can even pay 20 shillings or 100 shillings every month, and you plan to travel next year. So you realize that there's no financial barrier. So I actually don't think there's any huge financial barrier. I think the issue begins with the beliefs about traveling. So people don't set the right intention. Like Sheila said, you first have to set the intention and the need to travel. From there on, you can work on the financial part. But most Kenyans don't get to that point. So we don't even get to discuss, how much is the accommodation and how much is the transport there and how much is the flight there. We don't get to that point.
And when you say that, then it makes me want to ask Sheila then that is it a problem that we as people from Kenya especially have had since birth? Because quite honestly, do we have a conversation with our children about traveling and the importance of it, or do we even expose them to it? Is it a problem that is just inbuilt within people to not travel? And then if that is the case, then how can somebody get themselves out of that?
The problem, yes, it's a problem that's within us, and it's a problem that just highlights the trauma we suffer as a people, the trauma we suffer as an African people, not a Kenyan people. We are a very traumatized lot. We've undergone a lot. We still go a lot, and this has affected us in more ways than one. It's affected the way we eat. It's affected the way we worship. It's affected the way we approach work. It's affected the way we interact with each other. And certainly it has affected what we consider pleasure or leisure. We have this hatred or dislike or suspicion when it comes to things that look like we are enjoying ourselves, or we're spending our own money, or we're just having fun. We don't like that. This is the effect of trauma. We like to do hard things, or things, that make us sit back and say, hey, hiyo kitu ni ngumu. So when it looks like traveling, it looks like we are wasting our time, and we are wasting our money, and we are wasting our energy. And this is something that starts from our parents and their parents and the parents of those parents. So you find a lot of us, when we grew up, the traveling that ever happened was traveling to go to the village during December. And that was it. When ushago, that is the traveling. It's done. And that is a very functional travel. You're not even just going there to enjoy yourself. For us to go to ushago, we used to go to ushago to be taught hard work, to be taught, how people in the village, they struggle, and for us girls, to be taught how we need to be good wives, So even the travel to the village was not a good travel. Sometimes it was punishment. Sometimes if you were not behaving very well, you'll be told, we will send you to the village. Yeah. So you find the traveling itself, there was a lot of trauma around it, a lot of negativity around it. And then, so it was never traveling for holiday, for leisure. It was just traveling, very functional travel. And forced, you have no choice. You have to go here, and this is what you have to do when you go there, yeah? And then the other thing that also comes with traveling, it is the mindset that it's a big, dangerous world out there. So don't go to those new places, don't go there. You never know what you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to meet, especially when you're a young woman traveling. It's seen like, the way she's traveling, what's her intentions for traveling? Huh? And when it's a young man traveling, that one, that one, he's traveling too much. It looks like he's hanging out with wrong people, or he's drug dealing, or he's doing something not nice. Yeah. So you find we have got this suspicion around travel. And other than the suspicion around travel, we also have got this negative view. This is our trauma. Our trauma makes us think the world out there is not safe. So we need to stick in our comfort zones. It's safer there. If you go out there, oh my gosh, there are strangers there. Oh, they could be speaking a different language. What would you eat? Where would you live? Where would you sleep? You're dangerous. You're vulnerable. So you find we grow up with those feelings. So when you think of traveling, the first thing you sit, you are thinking the whole effort of traveling. You first of all sit and think, where do I go? Where is safe? You think that. And when I go there, what am I going to do? There's also that thing when you're going to travel. What do you do? And you see that question of what you do makes you rule out other countries altogether, because you're thinking, now I go to Uganda. What am I going to do there? If you're within Kenya, you're thinking, what would I do within Kenya? What is there? Or in Kenya, when you want to travel, you use Instagram or those travel groups that Ken mentioned. And those have got very nice, glossy pictures. But sometimes the price is not very friendly to the pocket. Huh? The ones that they put on Instagram or they market. So you're thinking, yes, I want to go to the Mara. But the advertisement, Jalango has advertised going to the Mara is 20,000 per night or something like that, because they're advertising the big Serena, the Mara, yeah? So you don't know. There is pocket-friendly Airbnb places or nice tents for people like us, but you want to go and do, the things that the foreigners on safari from other countries do. So there is that bias. There is ignorance from our end. There is a lot of distrust. There's a lot of fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. And there is also the notion of what would people say? What would people think? So like, for example, if you want to travel and you're a young woman on your own, or just a group of young women wanting to travel, you're thinking, oh, my pastor say, what would other people, you kind of want permission to go. And if you are a mother traveling, or you're a father traveling and you're leaving children behind, they're like, that's not very good parenting. You should sit down and take care of your children, Or if you're traveling and you're a bona fide choir, prayer, and it's called worship team, prayer team. When you go traveling, the practice may miss the choir master, and that kind of things. Or you have to go to specific places. Yeah, this is real. There are places that you want people to travel, but they start thinking, those are kind of secular places to go. I can't really go there, So there is a lot of ignorance around it and a lot of misinformation. And this starts from core beliefs that we adopt from our own homes, in our childhood, from our own schools, from our own communities. So that is the problem. So it is a problem we have, but it is an African problem, because it's not a Kenyan problem, because even the Africans here in the UK, they still struggle to travel. And when they travel, they go to places whereby they don't have to think. It's already been taught for them, even right from the car taking you to the airport, to getting on the plane, to getting everything. So they want least effort, because it's the aspect of safety. We think it's unsafe there. Now, to get out of this, you've asked, how do we get out of this? is unlearning it. And how do you unlearn it? Just biting the bullet and going out there and start traveling. And when I say traveling, I am not telling you to get on a plane and go to a different country. I am telling you to go to a new place. So if you live in Komarok and you have never gone to Dandora, travel to Dandora. One day travel. You've gone to a new place. You've seen how things are in Dandora. You've seen how they roast maize in Dandora. You've seen matatus for Dandora where they stand. Come back, you've traveled. Next time, don't go to Dandora. Go to Kasarani, further from Komarok. Next time, you'll be reaching Eldoret. Then soon you'll be Busia. Then you'll be crossing, you'll be Uganda. Once you're already in Uganda, you're ready to go to South Africa, Dubai, UK, everywhere. You started from Komarok to Dandora, yeah?
Now, for those of you who are watching, ukikuja Kasarani nipigie simu. I'll not buy you anything. I'll be mean on you. But anyway, now back to you, Ken. And Shila has given us quite a wide breakdown of travel issues and travel trauma that people face. Let's bring it down to home. You've done a lot of series about travel, and one of the things that you do is explore the small things that people can see in different places. Do you find that people don't just research enough about the world and that's why they don't travel? Or is there another reason that can motivate people to travel? Maybe trying to look at special things that they can enjoy or things like that?
There are so many reasons why people would travel. And there are also so many reasons why people don't travel, like we have said now. I think that one thing is that we are not interested in finding out what lies outside the familiar. Our brains are so used to the familiar that anytime we want to venture out there and do something different, like Shila said, we become a bit uncomfortable. And this actually doesn't reflect only in traveling, it reflects everywhere else in our lives. We never want to go out there and just venture and just try things out. I have traveled to many places, and some of the places are places that tourists generally don't go to. They are what I call the unbeaten tracks. The very, very small towns. For example, if I told you that I've gone to somewhere called Lahti in Finland, you don't know where the hell that is. So
I don't even know whether it exists in the first place.
Yeah. So you wouldn't know it exists. But I think the issue we're having is how we are brought up. We are brought up to be very comfortable. We are too protected sometimes, I would say, but protected in the wrong sense. That we don't want to venture. People are not willing to venture out there and just do crazy stuff and, live among other people. I have friends who leave the US, for example, and go to Africa without any relations there, without any plan there. They just move to Africa. And this could be an American, completely American, born and raised in America. And they one day just up and go. They decide, you know what? Africa is my motherland. I'm going to land in this particular country in Kenya, and I'm going to Kericho. Now, these are people who are not influenced by what is happening there, what has happened in Kenya before, how is Kericho. You see, another thing that we have to realize when you want to travel is that there are perceptions of people who are going to those places. And those perceptions are created based on their own beliefs, their own thoughts, their own experiences, and their own environments. Now, if you've gone to Uganda, Logedi, and you come and tell me something about Uganda, it does not mean that my experience will be the same as yours. It doesn't mean that whatever you experience in Uganda will be the same as the experience I'm going to have. But the problem we have as a people is that when Logedi comes back to Kenya and tells me, oh, Uganda, these people are so cruel. And by the way, let me tell you a story. My travels to Uganda is not a very nice one, but I've never said it anywhere else. The first time I went to Uganda, I didn't have a good time at all. But that's just that particular time. It could be the hotel I went to. It could be that I just had bad energy when I was traveling to Uganda at that time. It could be that that was just an isolated experience. But if I came back to you, Logedi, and told you, before you went to Uganda, and told you, don't go to that country, the hotels are horrible, the receptionists are cruel, and, they will mess up with your water shower like they did with mine. So if I come back and tell you those negative things, and focus fully on those negative things, you are likely not to travel to Uganda. Even if you had Uganda on your bucket list, you're likely to take it off. Now, let's take this problem onto a national scale. You know the perception people have about so many places in Africa and outside. You know the perception that people have about Somalia. You know the perception that people have about Garissa. You've written a book about terrorism in Garissa. So if somebody took your book to mean that that's how the whole area of Garissa is, then that person will never travel. So if you nationalize the problem and think about it in that sense, it means that everyone has a perception about something. So if you focus on the negative perception about places, you will never travel. And again, if you focus on the positive perception about certain places, it means you will only go to popular places that will not help you understand the world in a different perspective. Because if I talk to you about Barcelona and you go to Barcelona, then you are going there with an already formed opinion. You cannot form your own opinions about the place. Therefore, your experiences will not be built on your own experience. Your experiences will be built on my experience, which is a bad thing. You should go to Barcelona without the fact that tourists go to Barcelona. You should go to Uganda without the notion that people do go to Uganda. You just up and go because you realize there's something you want to do. You have done some research and you want to know their culture. You like the people. You like their women and you want to marry one. Like, yeah, I know you want to get married. So you see, it should be your own initiative looking to travel. So as Kenyans, we need to know the initiative to travel should be yours. And the ideas you form about a place are your own. So do not actually build your life and your traveling life around people's perceptions. This goes back to money. Don't build your life around people's perception of finances and traveling. The general perception in the society is that when you travel, you have a lot of money and a lot of time to waste. If you build your perception around that fact, you can become so rich, like you said, you want to become rich, but you will never travel. You know why? Because to you, it's a waste of money and a waste of valuable time. Now, again, in that sense, you are building that perception around the stereotype in the society. So if we can look within us and know what actually makes us tick, makes us feel fulfilled, if you can find that, if you're a traveler, because there are people also don't like traveling, but if you love traveling, which is like 99% of the population, because as humans, we are meant to explore. We are not meant to sit in one place. Naturally, we are meant to explore. So if somebody who doesn't like traveling, actually that's not a natural position. It could be for other reasons. But if you look within you, know the reason why you want to travel, and find that happiness within yourself. And that brings me to the next point. Finding happiness when you travel. People fear traveling alone. People fear traveling with people they don't know. Like in Kenya, people to come as a group. You don't know each other. It's the first time you're meeting and you go venture out there. And people fear traveling, to different places that they have some ideas about. Now, happiness in traveling comes from you. One problem we have as a country is that we are deriving our joy and happiness from other people. We derive our joy and happiness from other events, from the functions, from the circumstances, from the area. No. You see, if I'm traveling and I know that happiness starts with me, it's definite that when I go to Barcelona or I go to Amsterdam or I go to Uganda, I'm going to be happy. Whether you like it or not, whether I'm alone or not, whether I'm with my partner or my friend or a stranger, I'm going to be happy. That's a decision I make for myself. Now, if you don't make that decision, please don't go with a group because you'll spoil the whole energy. You'll bring in negative energy. And again, don't go on your own because you will come back with negative stereotypes and tell them to people and prevent them from traveling. So that's very important. Let us find the joy traveling within us. Another thing is that most people do travel because they want to show off, which is not the issue. You don't travel for anyone. And I think that's actually a really tough job, Logedi. If you give yourself the job of traveling to show people, then that's an extremely difficult job. But we have this problem as Kenyans that we think that everything we put out there, we are trying to show off. We're not showing off. Like, for example, myself, I put a lot of things out there in media right now because, again, I'm doing this life coaching journey. I inspire a lot of people. And from where I come from as a young person, I want to show young people that they can travel the world and not worry so much about money. They can manage. Everything is within reach for them. So I put things out there to encourage and not to show off. But you see, another thing with us is that someone wants to travel because Ken went to Barcelona. If you just up and go because I went to Barcelona, that's a really difficult job. You won't find the joy and you won't find the happiness of the place. You will be there and thinking, has Ken seen my post? Has Ken seen my WhatsApp status? I don't even, sometimes I'm sleeping in London, I don't even care. You could wake up in New York, I don't care. So that's what I'm saying. The happiness should be from within. And even when you're posting your travels and talking about them like we are talking about them, it's because we are trying to teach and change the narrative. It's not because we are bragging. When we travel with Shila, we go out there to have fun. And trust me, we've met really amazing people. And each place, I can remember every person we met, what amazing thing they did for us, because we went there to have fun and not to show anyone that we can travel, not to prove any point, but to have fun. Now, if that happiness comes from within, then you're likely to achieve whatever you want to achieve that fulfillment when it comes to traveling.
It's pretty interesting that you say that, because then a lot of people don't really know why they should travel, and I think that's where the problem starts. We have close to 126 people. We don't have close to 126 people. We have 126 people watching us right now. So if you are joining us today, we are talking about money and travel, and we are just trying to help you get different experiences. On the show today, I have Shila Chebet, who is the founder and lead coach at Gene Coaching School, and we have Kenneth Joe, who is the co-founder of Gene Coaching School, and also the founder of a YouTube channel called Ken's Money Matters, where they discuss all these money matters that we are talking about right now. So you can also go there and check them out after the show, during the show, after the show. So Elizabeth, I hope I've answered you. I decided today I'm not going to read a lot of the comments because then, unless it's a question. So Elizabeth asked, what is the name of the guest that we are having? So Elizabeth, our guests today are Ken and Sheila. Now, Ken ameenda kuchota maji ya kunywa, so don't even worry about him. He'll be coming back in a minute. Now, Sheila, when last time I met you, one of the things that you said, I don't know whether you remember you said it, but one of the things that I captured from our conversations, you said that traveling builds you because then the experiences that you pick kind of change your perception about life and about other people. Can you expound on that so that people can also understand how, as a person, you become different from traveling? Because let me tell you something. We keep As people, we keep wondering why children from Brook House, children from all these private schools, Strathmore University and all that, come out and they seem like they have a lot of content about world news and world everything, and their perception is different. And we keep thinking it's because their parents are rich. Is it just because they have better exposure?
I would say the exposure certainly changes you. There are many, many places to travel. Now, before I answer this is a very important thing I said. And I said this when we were in Nanyuki. So thank you very much for traveling with us to Nanyuki. It was my first time to be in Nanyuki. And you see, you came. So you see, and we made memories, yeah? Yes. And then we went to Arboretum as well. It was the first time for many people to come to Arboretum. It was the first time for me to travel there in many years. The last time I went in Arboretum, I was a student at the University of Nairobi, and I did not have a good experience there at all. I had gone jogging and some people followed me. So you see, this second time I went and I went with a group of people and we made wonderful memories. And one thing I told them, because me, anytime as a life coach, I never switch off being a life coach. So as we were sitting there, one thing that I told them was that if you are getting in a new relationship, romantic relationship, and you need to know each other well, you first of all need to know you can communicate. And one way you can know that you can communicate is being in those new places, whereby there is no point of relation, like sitting in Arboretum, for example. And remember, Arboretum isn't just in Kenya. There are many, many places whereby they're like Arboretum, where you're sitting and there's no distraction. It's just you, nature, and your wannabe Mpenzi. Then that is the time you'll know whether you have conversations, or you have anything in common, whether you really even like each other in the first place. Sometimes the distractions of going in for dates and the wines and the dressing and everything kind of like distract you, yeah? But when you're there, you remove all the fluff and it's just the two of you in your rawness. So that is one benefit of travel, yeah? So you people, before you set out and say, oh, I've got a new pension, I'm in a new relationship and all this, get time to travel, the two of you together. Even a long country drive, the two of you together, we'll say a long thing. And you know, getting who wants to get married, yeah? Get that personal trainer, yeah? On a car drive or go somewhere, yeah? From Kasarani, go to Eldoret. You will get to know a lot of things about each other. So traveling not only makes you know yourself, it also makes you know the person you're traveling with. It also makes you know the people that you're interacting with during that travel. Like the many places I've traveled. Like, for example, I went to Latvia. And Latvia is a place whereby I had got a lot of negative reviews on the news that, oh, they chase Black people down the street, like this. Even when we say we're going to Latvia, people are like, what place is that? It's not very safe. We had some of the most brilliant time in Latvia. The people were just from the airport, the taxi, to the accommodation, to the restaurants, the people were brilliant. So you see, I learned about the Latvians, how they are, and I learned that they're just nice, wonderful people. Again, I learned about my skills to do with language, sign language. When you travel to some of these places, you have to learn sign language because there's language barrier. Language barrier is real. But you want to go somewhere, you can't read, And then you can't read. You're illiterate, basically, because you don't read what they've written there. And you don't understand English. But that's the time you realize that Kiluya, Kizaluo, Kikalenjin can work. You know, if you're not understanding each other, you may as well speak your language and use sign language and point, and you get to understand each other. So traveling improves your social and communication skills. It improves it greatly. You are put in the element whereby you have to use your communication skills, regardless. Regardless, you have to do it. And communication skills is a skill that's transferable in many areas. So do travel out there. The other thing, it builds your confidence. There is nothing greater than arriving in a place on your own or with company, but the two of you are new, or the three of you, whatever, you're new. So you're starting afresh, trying to get in the map, you don't know the bus, you don't even know the currency. You know, sometimes you're there, you don't even know money. You're asking for money, they're telling you it's 10 pula. And you're giving them, and say, is this the pula? You have no idea. They tell you bus, they tell you go to the bus. You're asking them, how do the buses look like? You know, they're not standing like Kenya and say, Dandora, Dandora. And sometimes the pronunciations are off, you know. Like when you went to Croatia, they call it Havanska or something. So you reach there, you're saying Croatia, people are like looking at you. And then they say Havanska, then you realize, oh, they have a different name for this place. So you see, you learn a lot about the environment. So you grow as a person and you learn to be relentless, and you learn confidence. You approach people, you talk. Sometimes you get in fights, you know, like when people are trying to treat you badly because you are a stranger somewhere, and you say, no, it's not like this. You even go Google Translate and start reading to them. So it does, you become very creative. You become extremely creative. And then, so for a writer, this is a writing group, I highly encourage traveling. Creativity will go higher from the way you interact with people. Your characters will have richness when you're writing about them. Traveling broadens your horizon. I traveled. I was someone that never thought much about yacht. You know yacht, the big boats that go on the water? They're called yacht, yeah? You pronounce them yacht, but it's Y-A-C-H-T. Yacht. Or whatever they are. Yes, the big ship. Yes, now the big ship. That is something that I never really, I never just thought is something that is in my, it was never in my radar. Then we traveled to Croatia and I saw yachts, lots of them. We went to a millionaire's paradise. At the time we were booking the place, we didn't know it was millionaire's paradise. This is what you know when you reach in this place. And there were lots of yachts, lots and lots of them. My gosh, those things were beautiful. Those things were great. And I thought, why can't I experience this life? Why don't I want a yacht? And next day I was inside a yacht, steering, sea. And again, I just used, you know, communication skills and say, can we see inside? And they say, yeah, and you go inside and they take you a tour and you're laughing and you see it's broadening your horizon. You're looking at the houses. You're looking, one other thing, in another place, the way they were growing fruits outside their driveway, you know, outside in, like I grew up in Komarok. So in Komarok, you have space for one car outside your house. So you park your one car outside there. In this place, outside there, that one driveway, they have put something like a canopy. But in the canopy, they have planted fruits, tropical fruits. So they have used the space on top. So there are kiwi fruits hanging, there are apples, there are grapes. I never thought of an idea like that. And I went and I told my mom, you see, mom, here, now they come and say, here, you know, we can plant fruits like this. And my mom was like, yes, we can plant tomatoes. And my mom now will go vegetables. Dania still mentioned sweet potatoes and stuff. And, you know, but you see, those are the ideas. It broadens your horizons greatly when you travel. And then I've talked about boosting your confidence. And the other thing, the important thing of traveling is the creation of memories. We are here in this world to build a legacy. We are here to have memorable experience. We are here to enjoy. When you travel, you are creating new memories because you're going to a place you've never gone before. You're now going to a place to start creating new memories, to start experiencing life very, very differently. And the importance of that is that it helps you rejuvenate yourself. We sometimes forget how important it is to step out of your normal environment and go and be in a new environment. You reach there, and all the little problems that were troubling your mind in your normal area, you forget. Maybe you are thinking like, oh, someone hasn't texted me, or you're thinking like, oh, that boss is stressing me, or the landlord is knocking on my door. You're now in another place. All those problems you left behind. Because in this place, no one knows you, you are new. So you're able to take that breather and just think. you're able to rejuvenate yourself. You're able to grow in that solitude. You're able to heal yourself, kind of like lick your wounds in that space. You know, you've taken the space. When you come back, you have that clarity of mind to know how to handle your life. So those are the benefits of travel. I could never finish about talking about travel because there are so many. But the most important thing I would say, it helps you know yourself. And once you've already known yourself, it becomes so much easier to go through life because you understand yourself, you know yourself, you enjoy. Now, one thing Kenneth mentioned in his talk, he had mentioned about us having a bias towards a particular place, you know, like you have a bias because someone went and gave you a negative idea, or the travel, or the media, the media wrote a bad thing about it, or even writers, the media writer wrote about Garissa and terrorists, you know. So you fear going to these places. So I would say, yeah, writer with Garissa and terrorists, yes. So I would say, just to emphasize what Ken was saying, go to these places, form your own experiences, understand them. Do your research, of course. Due diligence always is there. You always do that. And whenever you go to these places, always know your way back or your way out. And always let someone know where you are. It's always important that way. Let people know where you are, or let people know how they can get hold of you. And nowadays with social media, that is very, very much easy. It's very much doable. But traveling is the one thing that you spend money and you get so much for it. They say that when you travel, you get more out of it than the money, because we're talking about money in traveling. You get so much more than the money you spend. So traveling is something that gives you more. What you live with it, there is just so much more you come out with it.
Now, I'll put a link on the screen, and the reason why I put the link on the screen is because on my own personal profile, people are asking me what is Ken's Money Matters everywhere. So I've just decided to put it as one comment on the screen so that you can all see. If you want to know more about Ken's Money Matters, just go to the link that I've just put there. I've also put it in the comments, both on Facebook and on YouTube, so that you can, go and interact with the content yourself and decide whether you think it's a good channel. I think it's a very good channel because there's way more on that channel than traveling. There's something about stocks. There's something about, but there's a very small video that Ken did about the best businesses to invest in Kenya. We'll talk about that video sometime. But before we even go to YouTube, I know I have muted Ken, so I have to unmute him right now. Ken, there's something that somebody said about saving for travel, and this caught my attention because one, I think is a wrong intention or a wrong perception, and two, I think people just don't think much about the traveling that they do. And this person said this, that I can only travel once a year because I have to save the whole year to travel. And I personally think that is a financial misconception about traveling. How then can someone save for traveling, or is it even important to save for traveling?
Number one, okay, before I move on, they asked about Ken's Money Matters, so I guess we'll address that later. So we give more holistic information about it. Okay, when you talk about people saying they can only travel once a year and how to save money, I've been there, I've done that. It doesn't work. Why do I say that? Number one, I believe that most of the time when we save for something, then that thing is not as important in our lives. If you decide to save for something and decide on when you're going to do it, based on your own evolution and timelines, and when you feel you are free, that thing is not important. Why do I say so? I say so because yesterday I was talking to Shila Chebet, and we were discussing how life is short sometimes. And we don't realize this until you actually think about it in different terms. When you say, okay, in my 20s, I need to get money. In my 30s, I need to invest. In my 40s, I need to prepare for my retirement. In my 50s and 60s, I need to be retiring and chilling. Now, if you think of life in that sense, you only have a few years to make your life happen or not. Yeah, because actually, it's very important because people think of their lives in terms of 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. From there on, you are a retiree. When we meet you on the road, we just help you cross the road. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the perception of traveling, you cannot save to travel because it means you will be doing it as something that is not so important to you. And if it is not so important to you, it means time can go so fast, and you won't make time for it. It's the same time you do something that's optional. You've seen when people are told, okay, this thing is optional. When you were in school, you are told, oh, this class is optional. How many people will attend the class? Not many. And people, when you are told that anything is optional, we didn't do it. Now, the reason is we have put traveling as optional in our brains, and that becomes a problem. Now, even if you save and get the money, Logedi, if you start saving today and you have 100,000 by end of the year, and then COVID hits again, are you going to spend money or not? So, because we do not know what's going to happen tomorrow, I do not believe we should be saving to travel. I think that's a wrong financial conception. Now, this is what we should do. In place of saving to travel, set the intention to travel, say where you want to travel to. The law of attraction does work in this sense. We have to be honest. If you put an intention to do something, Logedi, I'm sure 100% of the things you put your mind to, you thought about, you've always done them, despite not having money set aside to do them, despite not having money set aside to achieve them. I'm sure more than 50% of the things you've done in your life, you did not set aside time and money to do them. You managed to do them because there was need to do them. Now, if you have the need to travel and you know that life is short, like I said, and you need to have fun right now, you won't save to travel. You will travel right now. And the first step you do is set the intention. And the second step is giving gratitude. When you give gratitude, it means each time you get some money, it can be a windfall, it can be salary, it can be whatever money you got, it can be business money. You always have it in your plan. The same way you have your rent, the same way you have your electricity, you have travel, or whatever makes you happy, you have it in the list. So for some people, they decide, you know what, my salary comes, the first money I'm taking out before anything else is the investment money. They pay themselves. That's what finance people will tell you. But because I'm a finance person and I'm a travel person and I'm a life coach, I will tell you, give gratitude to yourself when you get the money. How do you give gratitude to yourself? Give yourself a journey, a trip, you know? And like I said, it doesn't have to be a big trip. It has to fit within your budget. Because again, we're talking about financial planning and financial tracking. If you decide to work with things that fit within your budget, you will always manage. You just need to say, you know what, this month I'm getting 100,000 or 50,000, whatever happens, whether I'm going to go without electricity for the end until the end of the month, I'm taking 5,000 to go to Mombasa. Now, if you say that and it doesn't become an option, it is done and set, then you will do it. But if you're waiting for a perfect opportunity to actually do it, you won't do it. That's number one. So you have to give that gratitude to yourself. And one way you can do it is make sure that traveling is also as important as the rent or the steamer or the water payment. Let us not put other people's things in our lives so important, like rent and water and power, that we forget about ourselves. And that's a big problem. We focus so much on giving our bosses our time, our energy, and the money, and we forget about ourselves. Some people focus on gifting their girlfriends and boyfriends and moms and siblings, and they forget about themselves. You take responsibilities in your life, and the only responsibility you don't take is the responsibility of taking care of yourself. Now, if you think of taking care of yourself, there are just many ways you can take care of yourself. One of them being traveling. So it goes again to self-love. Do you love yourself? Personally, I think if somebody doesn't travel or doesn't spend on themselves, I wouldn't want to love that person. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with such a person. Because that person, somebody who doesn't love himself will be very good to love you. Now, I believe if you love yourself and you love traveling, you will award yourself that despite what happens, Logedi. We know this. People achieve extraordinary things. It is not different with traveling. Financially, what I'm saying is do financial planning, know how much you're getting, and know where can you travel to. Like we said, you can even walk somewhere. You can spend 1,000 for traveling. You can spend 2,000 for traveling. How many people in Kenya can't afford 1,000 to travel? Most people that talk about traveling are actually on salary. These people give their bosses 90% of their 365 days in a year. They give to their bosses. But they don't want to give themselves a weekend in Mombasa. If you think about it in that sense, you realize how selfish you are to yourself. Now, from that perspective, then you have to start thinking, then how do you do it? And then you set the intention, and then you set the money. Money comes later. And another important point is that you don't need a lot of money to travel. That's a big misconception. You don't need a lot of money to travel. You need to travel within your niche, within within what you can afford, within your budget, basically. And sometimes people even travel without spending any money. A lot of people have traveled without spending any money. They have set the intention, And so many things have happened in the process that they manage to travel without any money. And many people will tell you this. And some people too have gotten jobs that help them travel, and they get the opportunity to actually explore those places they go to. So somebody may have wanted to travel out their life. They have been setting the intention. They have been out there trying to, and then they stumble upon a job that helps them to travel. So again, I think this thing is about changing the mindset. The main thing is the mindset. And another thing, like we said, we do research about due diligence about the places we're visiting.
Now, Shila, one of the things that somebody told me recently is that, and you actually insinuated to it a bit earlier, is that young couples need to learn to travel together. Now, I didn't exactly know why that person was saying that. And of course, I wasn't a young couple at the point in time. Am I a young couple? Am I even a couple? But then, what is the importance of traveling with people that you want to connect with? Number one. And number two, I want you to now give me the life.
What happened to Logedi?
He got frozen. He got frozen, yes. It's a very good time when he was asking me a question there. Logedi, if you can hear us, you're frozen, and you're not frozen in a very flattering position either. These cameras are not very kind, are they?
They're not, no, not at all. But you can continue the first part of the question.
Your conversation, I can answer. I want you to hear part of the answer. So that's sweet. It's a matter of time. I'm talking, hoping he will hear us. If he will hear us, he will hear that we're saying we can't hear him. And then, but I'm sure people can hear us. So people, we're just dealing with a little technical fault here. And now Logedi has dropped off completely. So let me wait for him so that he can hear us. It'll be better that way, because then I can hear the rest of the question that he was asking there. But as we are waiting, I can just touch on that question that he had asked for the people so that the people can keep on seeing us. Logedi had asked, what is the importance of traveling with people you want to connect with? And he was basing this on something that he had been told about someone that young couples need to travel together. I will correct that by saying not young couples need to travel together. I would say even new couples that are old. Like you can be old, I don't know whether young and old means here, but I'm saying even people that society or you yourself, you think you're old, as long as it's a new couple and you're getting to know each other, you want to form that relationship. For you to assess your compatibility, you should travel together. I am not saying traveling together whereby you book a very expensive holiday to Bora Bora or Seychelles or any of those places. I'm saying getting that time out of your normal homes or out of your normal dating things, like going to restaurants, wining and dining each other, and just be in that car, including a matatu, the two of you traveling to a new place, venturing into this new place and getting to see each other in this new place, in this new light, getting to know each other in that new light is very important to assess compatibility there. The things you're looking at when you go there, Logedi says he's back. Let me wait for him to come back as we see him.
The things KPLC does to me. The things that Kenya Power does to me, only God knows.
Okay. I was answering part of the question you'd asked. Now, can you just finish the rest of the questions that I answered? You'd asked me connection. What is the importance of young couples traveling together, especially what's the importance of traveling together with people you want to connect with? You're building up that question. What was the other bit of it?
Yes. I was just going to kind of give a very small disclaimer that part of many of my very good friends that I work with, especially business-wise, are people that I met on my travels. People that I did not think that you could get anything with. And also, some of the people that I connect with most in terms of friends are people that I have traveled with at least once. So I don't want you to base your answer on that, but then do you think it's important for a couple to travel together, or even people who want to do business together, so that they can understand how each other think?
I would say for the business, I would say it depends on the nature of the business. It depends if it's a business whereby you need to know each other intimately. There are some other businesses you don't need to know each other intimately. The business can work with that intimacy. That one, I caution against traveling together, because traveling together may bring up issues that will jeopardize the business, whereas that intimacy was not needed. Like, intimacy can end up being a problem. Some businesses do not require intimacy at all. They require that distance, that detachment between the two of you. But couples require intimacy. Couples require that compatibility. Before even intimacy, couples require to know that they are compatible. That compatibility can only be found, one of the best ways to find that compatibility is by traveling together. And as I was saying, it's not young couples alone. It's any couples, including couples that are just getting to know each other. It doesn't matter what age you are. So you could be couples in your 50s, 60s getting to know each other. Travel together. When I say travel together, I am not saying getting on the plane and going to Bora Bora, or going to America, or going to see, the walk on the steps in some mountain where the Buddhist monks walk. No, I am saying travel together to a new place, including Arboretum, including getting in that car, coming from Kasarani, going to Arboretum, just the two of you. Why you're doing that is to appraise whether you are able to talk, whether you are able to be silent in each other's company. It's very important to know that you can have that comfortable silence with each other. It is also to know that you can communicate, to know that you like the energy around you, like the atmosphere when you're the two of you together, and to know that you actually enjoy each other, you enjoy being in each other's company. So it is extremely important for young couples to, when I say young couples here, I'm saying couples that are starting out. I'm not saying age. So when you're when you're learning each other and wanting to say, can we really get on together and everything, part of the interview techniques you can put in here is traveling together. So travel can be used for that. And then sometimes that also can show whether you really travel, whether you really matched. You may find someone that really likes traveling, and then he or she wants someone that doesn't like traveling. It's not going to work. It will not work in the end, because it's going to be serious compatibility issues there. One of you will be forced to compromise, and that's how resentment comes in. Because I think with traveling, there's no middle ground as such. You either love traveling or you don't. And Ken earlier on told us what he thinks about people that don't like traveling. A lot of the time when you find people don't like traveling, there is trauma. There's some unresolved trauma somewhere. Most of the time is travel trauma or money trauma or emotional trauma, but there is some trauma somewhere. Now, that unresolved trauma, rest assured, it's going to interfere with that relationship. So travel will also help unearth that trauma, and then the person that is suffering the trauma will know what to do about that trauma. And the person that was getting in a relationship with them will know whether to take a risk with that trauma or not. So traveling, there's a lot of things that come up from there. Now, we have this lot that say they cannot travel together. They cannot. It's not even an option. They will not travel together. That in itself is a symptom of a problem. I'm not saying couples should always travel together. No. In fact, I actually say at times you have to travel separately. But now I am looking at traveling together, and I'm saying it should not be a no-no, whereby you're thinking of traveling with your mpenzi and your heart sinks and you're thinking, I have never thought of a more dreadful thought, like, oh my God, I couldn't travel with them. Or, if I travel with them, I have to be in my best behavior. I have to behave this way. I have to behave that way. Now, that's a problem. It shows there's a communication problem. It shows there's an intimacy problem. It shows there's a lot of issues in that relationship. And traveling is one way you can actually resolve that issue. When you're taken away from your normal environment and you're now thrown in there somewhere, you can now have a discussion between the two of you, discuss, whatever issues are there. So travels can also highlight the problems that are there. And as a couple, when you're making memories, this is the whole point of, having a relationship is creating those memories together, creating that life together. When you see someone, you're having a companion and all that. One way is not just coming, sitting in the house and sharing that cup of porridge in your house. You can share that cup of porridge in another place, maybe taking some porridge that you can't even pronounce the name. So yes, traveling together as a couple has all kinds of benefits, shows compatibility, builds intimacy, builds bonding, shows whatever issues that are there that need to be resolved. Sometimes it actually shows you that, this is not the person I want. It does. And the sooner you find that out, the better, the better. So yes, traveling together is something I highly recommend.
Perfect. It's interesting that you say you speak about a lot of things that I don't really want to say I think about them much, but then there are things that I also believe. So at the risk of unearthing all my beliefs, I'll just stop there. Now, we've been on for 1 hour, 12 minutes. I have no idea where that time has gone to because I'm checking my time and I'm seeing, oh, okay, we still have only 18 minutes. Now, I want to spend these next 18 minutes talking about totally different things that are not even related to what we are talking about today. And I want to spend the next 18 minutes talking about gene coaching because I believe if somebody has a problem in terms of how to approach such things or their fears, then they need some help. So I want to throw this to Shila before I come and ask Ken about money issues. Then, in gene coaching, then, what are some of the aspects that you train people on that can affect their attitude towards training? Or just generally, what are some of the things that you just do in that school? Ama, you teach people how to write about terrorism. No, you don't. What are some of the things that you really focus on in gene coaching that somebody can benefit from, especially those who want to change their perceptions about traveling?
At the moment, I'll start with what's happening now at this point in time. We run courses in gene coaching. At the moment, we are running 2 courses. We run about 2 courses in a month. So the courses we're running now is the universal laws. So we are teaching people about the universal laws. And one thing I said yesterday when I was teaching, the course I was introducing, it just started. And one thing I said, the universal laws are there, whether you know about them or you don't. The universal laws affect you, whether you know about it or you don't. The universal laws are absolute, whether you accept it or not. And the universal law, you work under them, whether you know them or not. So we are teaching about these universal laws. We're focusing on 2 of them, the law of attraction and the law of creation. And in this, if you wanted to travel, basically these laws help you have the kind of life that you want. You know, if you wanted to have a life like living in a big mansion and the golf courses you mentioned and all that, if that is what makes your heart beat, you will get that using these laws. If you know you want to live quietly in the countryside and maybe travel here and there using your little boats, going one place to another, seeing your goats and fish and all that, that is the life you'll get using these laws. So that is what I'm teaching right now. That's what we're teaching in gene coaching. We're teaching this law of attraction, the law of attraction and law of creation. I will touch on the law of allowing. Those are the universal laws. So we're teaching that not only from a theoretical point of view, but from a practical point of view, so that by the time you leave the course, you know exactly how to apply these laws. And by the time you leave the course, you already know where the errors you've been making. Because if wherever you are in your life at this point in time, you don't like anything, if this is, I'm talking to the people now, in your life where you are, if there are things in your life that you do not like, I want you to know this very clearly. You attracted those things in your own experience. Yes, you did, at thought level. That includes the very many things that you think there is no way I could have attracted this. I don't want this. That is exactly the point, that you attracted it. So I teach you how to get there. And sometimes there's a lot of defensiveness. There's a lot of, not this. But by the time we have finished teaching you, actually sit back and say, okay. So that is the course we're doing right now. The other course we're doing right now, we're doing a course on fasting. Yes, fasting.
Oh, okay.
Fasting has been abused. Yes. Fasting has been abused and misled. It's been a tool of manipulation. It's been a tool of control. It's just been something that makes people think it's a horrible thing, because religious factions especially have manipulated people to do this fasting that is very harmful to their bodies. So what we're doing, we are reteaching that, telling you how fasting is extremely important for you as a healing thing. And every human must fast several times a year, because that resets your body. Now, we teach about the different type of fastings that are there. A lot of people just know dry fasting, you know, the one that don't eat anything, don't even swallow your saliva, don't take anything. That is the fasting that today I categorically tell you that is a horrible fasting. It shocks the system, traumatizes the system. Don't do that. And I go further and explain and even tell you what fasting you do. As we speak right now, we have just finished 5 days. Today is our 5th day of fasting. So when you see us like this, we've been fasting, yeah? That's why our skins are glowing and we're smiling and we're happy. We have removed all these toxins from us. Yes, there is a specific type of fasting that's very good. It's a fasting whereby you don't take animal products, you take a lot of water, you take a lot of herbs. I told you I'm a herbalist. So you take a lot of herbs, no animal products at all, but you don't stay hungry. We don't do hunger, even in fasting. We don't do hunger because your body still needs nutrients, your body still needs minerals, your cells still need hydration. So I teach you this. And when you leave after this, you know the importance of fasting. You know how to take care of your health. You know about what herbs to take. You know about what foods to take. You know how your body interacts with food. Like, for example, when you take milk or eggs or meats or fruits or vegetables, you know how your body interacts with that. So these are the kind of things we teach. And you know what? All of us eat. All of us, our bodies are always interacting with food. So this is information that you need, isn't it? And then all of us are always in this religious, many of us are in these religious groups or religious places where fasting is thrown down our throats, or many of us are in these groups, so-called health and fitness groups where fasting is thrown down your throat. So sometimes you get confused. We help you deal with that muddle. We help you know how to take care of your body and how to represent yourself in your body, because your body is yours and yours alone. No one has shares on it. Not your pastor, not your gym trainer, no one. It's yours and yours alone. So we teach about that. And in the law of attraction, all of us are here in this life. We are here, we are present. So we need to know how to live the lives we are living. We need to know why we are here. We need to know what we're doing here. And in the universal laws, we teach about that. Those are the courses that I'm mentioning we teach now. But I have to tell you, every month we have at least 2 courses going. So we've taught about relationships, we've taught about codependency, we've taught about when relationships end, for example, we've taught about how to deal with breakups, we've taught about grief, losses, disappointment, employment, names, herbs. We've talked about everything. We've talked about fear. We've talked about spirituality. We've talked about nature. We've talked about water, importance of water, just water. Water in itself is a course that can go on. I think that was a 10-day course. We've talked about the land, the land that you live. We've talked about the sun that comes out there. Anything in life, yeah? Like right now, the course that comes next month, the 2 courses we're taking next month, we're going to talk about hair. All of us have hair, yeah? So many of us don't know there's a lot of things to do with hair. So all of us have hair. We are going to teach about hair. And by the time you finish that course, you will know what to do with your hair. And it's not just hair on the body. We've got hair in many places in the body. We will touch on all those, yeah? So, which is extremely important because this is your body. So the next course, we are going to talk about hair. That is the first course we're going to talk about. And then after talking about hair, we are going to talk about money and parenting, because another thing that is there is money with children. A lot of us acquire so many negative core beliefs around money, starting from our own homes. That time you're told, don't touch money, or return fair, or don't give the child money, or a neighbor comes, or a visitor comes, and a visitor gives you money as a child because you're very nice, and your mother says, give that money to me right now. I pay for you school fees. I do this and I do that, or I don't, or you ask your mother for something and your mother says, I don't have money for this. I can't afford it, or these are not things for us. Don't dream like this. So we'll look at money and parenting as well. This is also a course that's very important for anyone that has been parented. This is not just a course for people with children. It's a course for anyone that has been parented. If you have grown up in a place whereby you have been parented by a caregiver, it doesn't have to be a parent. And especially if you've grown up in a Kenyan household, believe me, you have money trauma. Believe me, you have negative core beliefs about money. So we teach that so that when you live there, you have a very healthy attitude around money. So I hope I've answered you, Logedi. These are the things we do. We teach life courses in very practical ways. And our rates are very, very affordable, very friendly to the pocket. I'm even embarrassed to say the 2 courses you're doing, how much they cost.
because you're embarrassed to say it, I will say it. The courses at Gene Coaching School go for as low as 400 shillings. So, you can join any of them. I think one of them going on right now goes for, I think, about 1,000 bob for the whole course. And then I don't remember exactly how the other one goes for, but yeah, that's very much informative. And I was telling a friend of mine, you never quite realize you need to take some of these lessons until you've met people who have taken them or you've started them, especially that one about money. We actually, as Kenyans, don't have a relationship with money whatsoever. Forget about the money you have in your pocket. You have no relationship with that money. Anyway, Ken, now that I'm telling people about money and relationships with money, Ken's money matters. what's Ken's money matters? And why should I be bothered about your own money matters though? Or are they also my money matters?
Just before I go to Ken's money matters, just to mention one thing from Gene Coaching is that the course titles we do have doesn't capture the whole concept that we discuss. Our courses cover so much more. They go so much into detail, because sometimes when you advertise out there, people look at the title and they're like, I don't need a course on hair, or I don't need a course on fasting. And our fasting course actually costs 300, so that's how low they can go. 300 Kenya shillings. I don't know how low that it can never go, Logedi. With this corona, we're doing 300. So most of them, if we say, for example, fasting, you won't know that in there there's a lot of knowledge about herbs. You won't know that in there there's a lot of knowledge about lifestyle. You won't know that in there there's a lot of knowledge about your health. You won't know that in there there's a lot of knowledge about breastfeeding. So most of our courses do not actually capture the whole thing. So some people who do judge them from our advertisements or anything. We don't do a lot of marketing, and we don't try to capture people. No, we don't. It comes into our brains, we decide on it, and there it goes. We don't sit down and start strategizing on how we're going to capture people by having a catchy title. We don't do that. So for those who haven't tried and are thinking, why do I need a course on hair or a course on water? Trust me, give it a try one day and you will know why you will need it next time. So yeah, that's very important. Another important thing is that the school is growing quite fast, and we have a number of people who support us. It's good to say thanks, and I say thanks to them because I know some of them are watching. So there are some people who have been with us since we started Gene Coaching. So for us, we give gratitude all the time. We appreciate what people do. Even you, Logedi, there are people who have supported us. We say thank you so much at Gene Coaching. We appreciate. Despite everything else, what we are striving for is changing the narrative and doing what we call generational shift. So it's not so much about the money, actually. If it was about the money, trust me, there's nothing that will be less than 10,000, because everything you learn in primary, high school, and college, we teach you much more, and we give you much more practical skills. So yes, that's just to top up on Gene Coaching, because that's also one thing I do a lot. That's our brainchild. Then moving on to Ken's Money Matters, which is an extension of Gene Coaching. Ken's Money Matters talks about everything money. Now, I know some people become sleepy when they think about money, or they get bored, but money is in every aspect of our lives, Logedi. And one thing we don't realize is that if we don't bury our heads in the sand and talk openly about money, it's the same way we fear talking about relationships, we fear talking about sex, we fear talking about a lot of stuff. Money is also one of those topics that people don't want to talk about. Money is personal. Mine is personal. The money I spent when I was traveling is personal. I don't think that's right. I think if we are open enough to discuss money issues, then we can solve a lot of issues we have around it. So, but if we don't discuss it and continue behaving as if money is a taboo, but we use it every single day, and we steal it and we kill people for it, but we don't want to talk about it, then we are pretending. And that's a really bad culture. So Ken's Money Matters is focused on that approach whereby we are open about money. We discuss everything about money. I sometimes lay my life bare just because of money. Recently, I did a video on doing gardening, and people asking me, where do you get the energy to be happy about gardening? But I'm happy because I'm discussing money. I'm happy because I'm teaching people. I'm happy because I'm inspiring people. I can't come to your screen trying to inspire you, but I look like I'm a dead fish. You see, so it's important that we are free and open to discuss money issues. So I talk about money in that channel. I talk about everything finance. I talk about everything investments. Again, another area whereby Kenyans have lots of trauma and misguided notions. One thing Kenyans say is that you have to invest in land. Now, when you come to Ken's Money Matters, I will tell you don't have to invest in land. You have other alternatives. I know Kenyans, we are brought up and thinking, oh, have you bought land? Have you married? Have you gotten a child yet? You know that we have a particular path which we follow with regards to life and finance. So, but I'm telling you, there are other alternatives. At Ken's Money Matters, we discuss other alternatives. We discuss money market funds. We discuss stocks. We discuss bonds. We discuss other, basically real estate, for example, and not real estate in the traditional sense of, the way Kenyans think about it. We always think about, land in Kitengela, Jalango is advertising land in Malindi. Maena Kageni is advertising some green project. I don't know what it is. It actually failed. So a lot of these things, we have been conned through them. We always have a very rigid view with regards to money. So that's one thing we discussed. Number two, like Shila mentioned, our relationship with money. We don't even have it. The reason we're talking about money and traveling is because we fear spending money so much that we have to have a cost on money and traveling. We have to tell people, please, 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 spend this salary you're getting on traveling. It's just sad. So we fear spending our money. So our relationship with money is not even about the rich people. Okay, the channel is not for the poor or rich. No, the channel is actually for every single person. Even if you are rich, we have so many rich people in Kenya who have not ventured anywhere outside their comfort zones. They have never traveled because they still have that notion of wastage. If you're traveling, you're wasting money. But as a finance coach, I tell you that you have to give gratitude to yourself. You have to spend money on yourself. If money does not work for you, there's no need having the money. And that's a very important point. Don't have the money if it doesn't change your life. Don't hoard money. Don't keep money in a bank and think that it will change things. Yeah, so you have to make that money work for you. If you're gonna work so hard to get money, your life has to reflect the money you're getting. A lot of Kenyans get a lot of money, but their lives don't reflect the life they're getting. Some of them will have millions in the bank, but they still live in very poor and horrible neighborhoods. And that's bad. Personally, I'm saying if you have money, move to a neighborhood that makes you happy. Of course, you may want to live in a poor neighborhood. We have white people who move from Europe to go and live in a poor neighborhood. That's their choice. Yeah. But for someone who is striving to change their lifestyle, if you get that money to change your lifestyle, don't remain in the same position. That is like telling the universe you do not deserve the money you get. That's like telling the universe you do not deserve the favor it's giving you. So it's important that when you have money, you use the money. So we lack a relationship with money. And at Ken's Money Matters, we discuss relationship with money. And that's why I come with different series addressing different issues. Because traditionally, if you think about it, and if you go look for financial channels, they are dominated by white people. That's number one. And number two, they all focus on things like stocks and bonds and whatever. I focus on those, yes, but I still focus on very interesting topics like money and traveling. The other time we did a video in Nanyuki with you guys, and it was just talking about money and traveling. And we ended up talking about death and life, but it's still part of finance and traveling. So again, it means our view about finance should be a bit broad. So that's why I bring in money and travel. That's why now I'm bringing money and the diaspora and life. I'm bringing in money and parenting. We're bringing in money saving tips. So we have different approaches to money, and Ken's Money Matters give all those different approaches. If you want an international view to money, you come to Ken's Money Matters. If you want a local approach to money in Kenya, come to Ken's Money Matters. So we definitely have a very holistic approach. And remember, we are also a life coaching school, which is Gene Coaching. So we teach you life coaching at Gene Coaching, and then we talk to you about money at Ken's Money Matters. So what don't we give you? What don't we discuss? And this is something I've been doing for a long time. It's something that I'm so passionate about, because I know that if you can change your economic situation, you can change a lot of things around us. This financial trauma that she talks about informs a lot of other traumas that we have in our lives, including relationships. And that's why we have, again, relationship and finance. Our relationships are so bad sometimes because of our financial values. We get married to people we don't match with financially. I want to invest, and the other person wants to spend all their money in the club. So in that case, you don't match. And I also tell people, if you do not have basic financial values, if they don't match, then you can't have a relationship. You cannot date someone you don't have the same financial values. It will be the most difficult thing you'll ever do in your life. Because when you want to be fasting or you want to be traveling, someone wants to be drinking alcohol in a bar. When you want to be flying to another country, someone wants to buy a land in Kitengela. You know, those things are different. I'm not saying it's wrong to buy a land. I'm just saying your priorities are different at that time. So I want to travel to Europe. Someone wants to buy land in Kitengela and build a house. Maybe at my level right now, I don't care about building a house in Kitengela. All I care about is seeing the world. Now, at this particular point, I would want someone who also cares about seeing the world, or else that person will feel like I'm wasting money, and we'll have lots of fights about it. So again, financial values and relationships. So that's why I'm telling you that Ken's Money Matters addresses all these things from different perspectives, and we realize how finance is in every aspect of our lives. And if we realize and recognize how much finance plays a part, then we give it the attention it requires and the approach it requires, it becomes different. The relationship becomes different. You start realizing, okay, if I'm going to date someone, that person has to have the same financial values. If I'm going to travel, I'm going to spend this money because it will come back to me. If I'm going to teach my child about money, I'm going to teach them to love money and know that they can work for it. You see, all these approaches are all different. But again, another issue is that we have a very rigid, and not just Kenya, by the way. I've also done a video on Black people and financial literacy. It is a Black people problem. It is a trauma problem. So sometimes we can say that, you know what, I'm teaching about money, I'm teaching about finances, I'm trying to change the narrative completely. But you have people who are so rigid in their view towards money, they think it's all about finance. When they come to my channel, they want to see just money, money, money. No. Yesterday I talked about how somebody will be asking you, how does herbs relate with money? Like, I was in the bush. If you see me in the bush, the other time you were asking me, I was in a golf course. How does a golf course relate with money? But in that particular golf course, I actually saw golfers, and I gave up a business idea whereby you can help these golfers pick their balls, look for their balls, and carry their equipment, and you get paid. And this can not only be a job, it can be a business. It can be a business because the moment you have different people and different golf courses, and you're doing the same job and you employ people, that's a business. And you can't make money out of it. So every single thing in our lives is about money. Even nature. I talk about nature all the time. I love going out in nature. It rejuvenates us. It makes you think differently. And that's all about money. It's all about money. So Kenneth's Money Matters is a channel that gives a completely unique approach to money. And this one is actually focused so much on ensuring that as Black people, and I have to say this, as Black people, we have a completely different view and different relationship with money. Because like Shila said, we have what we call financial trauma. There's no way you can sort out financial trauma if you do not approach it from the perspective I'm approaching it from. So we're starting from the children, to those at gene coaching, and to those people who watch us in the channel. So like I say, subscribe and keep it there for more videos to come.
Now, also, another reason for you, by the time we were starting this show, I checked Ken's Money Matters and it had 193 subscribers. I want us to take it to 210 by the time we are finishing this show. So if I can get 17 of you, right now we're having 92 people watching across our different platforms. So if I can just get 17 of you subscribing, I'll have accomplished my mission. Anyways, now if also you want to see me in my raw form, a lot of you have never seen me joking. A lot of you have always seen me very serious, doing serious things. Go and watch the videos about Olpejeta. You will see a lot of things about me that you've never seen. And please, Ken, because I've already said this, kindly don't post any videos of me dancing because that's going to be a disaster. I do not want disasters at all. Anyways,
a lot.
Post the others.
So people need to be ready to see you in your elements.
No. Kindly don't go there. It's very okay, but we'll discuss in our other platforms. Anyways, we are very close to the end of the show, and thanks so much to all of you who have tuned in. Shila is officially back. I didn't want to put her on when she was traveling all over because I was afraid that she would start running at the airport. And just to go back to the very first comment on this show, Gito said running at the airport and for trains. Gito knows something that we all don't know. So, so I do want her to run away. So Shila will be with us moving forward. Okay, guys. We are very close to finishing this. So this is that point in time when I ask you for your closing remarks. And when I ask you for your closing remarks, I ask you to say absolutely anything that you've said, that you'd have said that I forgot to ask you about. So let's start with Shila.
My closing remarks are to just beseech you to prioritize traveling. Traveling is not something that is optional. This world is a big world. We live in a big world. Just because you're born in Shamahoho village in Western Kenya doesn't mean that you only live in Shamahoho village in Western Kenya.
Shamahoho is beautiful.
There is Vietnam. Vietnam has got villages you can go and see. There is Italy, there is Mexico, there is Papua New Guinea, there is South Africa, there is even Uganda. These places, travel. That is what I'm telling you. Just travel. And as I said, you don't have to start traveling, going to big, far-flung places. Just start there where you are. Here, there is a wedding happening somewhere, and it's in a different city. Travel to that city. Attend that wedding. Get to know the people there. Don't be fearful of spending money on yourself for traveling. Now, traveling is the one thing you do for yourself. You actually carry your body and go with it. So if you are going to be joining this WhatsApp group and sending money for people to marry and pay dowry and sending fare for people to come and all that kind of thing, travel. Travel. Prioritize travel. And this is the thing that I tell people, and they have to prioritize travel. Some people say, my money does not go too far. When I want to travel, it doesn't go too far. I don't know. And someone is on a salary. So first of all, I tell the person on a salary, immediately your salary comes in. Ken mentioned this and I'm mentioning it again. Immediately your salary comes in. Thank yourself for earning that salary. You sent yourself to earn that salary. You committed your energy to earn that salary. You committed your time to earn that salary. That money was born out of your energy and your time. In this world, the only two things you have in this world is your energy and your time. That's all. Your life is just your energy and your time, nothing else. Being alive, you're using energy. And then you're given that time. You lose energy, you die. You lose time, you die. When people are dead, they don't have energy, they don't have time. So you're giving your life to your employer. And then when you get the salary, you are now giving that money to the bills that you've accrued. What I tell you, what are you giving yourself? Who has committed this life to earn that money? So when the money comes, the first thing is saying thank you to yourself. Why that's important is because it attracts more money in your experience. It's the same way, like if I do something nice for you, Logedi, and you tell me thank you very much, and you're very grateful. Next time you come and ask for something, I'll do it for you. But if I do something for you and you just go and focus on other people, don't even say thank you. Next time you come, I'm not giving to you, I'm not helping you. So it's the same thing to yourself as well. Return that energy by rewarding yourself. And the one way of rewarding yourself is travel. So you say, when my money comes, this is the energy. I said, find the energy. When my money comes, on the day my salary comes, the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to book travel. As I said, if you're living in Komarok, it is not booking travel to Bora Bora. It can be, I am booking travel tomorrow, I'm going to Eldoret, or tomorrow I'm going to Kasarani. Logedi said he cooks very nice meals. I'm traveling to Kasarani to see Logedi. I am traveling here, I'm traveling there. From that salary, so what you're looking for is the fare. And you're going to reach where you're going to do. You do whatever you have to do. You've traveled, and then you will say, this salary, I went to Kasarani. This other salary, the February salary, I went to Eldoret. The March salary, I went to Ginger Falls. The April salary, I went to South Africa, Cape Town. The whatever, you see how now you're working, and now you can see where your money is going. Not like, oh, I paid rent, or I paid bills, I paid this. No, pay those after you've already traveled. And you know, when the money of travel always comes back. And once you have committed that money, you're not going to go without paying bills. It will come back, because traveling opens the world for you. It opens your abundance, because you're doing it from a point of gratitude, from a point of positive vibration, and the world responds to vibration. So what I'm telling you, reward yourselves. Those are people with salaries. You have no excuse not to travel. Set that energy. The time will come. The money is there. That salary is there. Now, for the people that don't have salaries, you can still travel. First of all, if you don't have salary, yeah, and you're an able-bodied adult, we go into the questions. As a life coach, you go in the questions, how are you meeting your basic needs? So we have a different discussion to discuss there. And this, but that doesn't mean you cannot travel. You can still travel, because there are people like us and people like Ken. So many of us, whenever we go somewhere, we say, come along, join us. And then we can pool resources, and you can still travel with us. And in the process, we can talk, and you'll find that you are able to get a salary. You're able to start sustaining yourself. You're able to start living these things, you know. So when I say traveling is very important, do it. This is not one of those things you sit and theorize. This is one of those things that you prioritize and you do it. Go out there. The world is your oyster. The world is for you to explore. Go out there. You really have no excuse to travel. As long as you've got energy, that means you're alive, yeah? If you can walk, if you can talk, you can go to the toilet, you're alive, you have energy. And as long as you have time, That means you're alive. Time here, I'm talking like you wake up in the morning, you go to sleep at night. So you've got the time. You have no excuse not to travel. Travel. That is my parting shot. Travel. Let us meet a year from now, and you will see yourself. You'll be in a completely different head space. If you have problems traveling, find us at Gene Coaching. We run a travel course. We will teach you how to travel practically. All those barriers, we will bust them for you, and you will start traveling. So join us at Gene Coaching for traveling.
That's interesting that you talk to people who are salaried, because I worked in a salaried environment for a year, and I never traveled during that 1 year, and I actually don't know where my salary went for that 1 year. So I actually cannot touch something and say this is my salary. Probably I can touch my muscles, which are not existent. So I can't touch anything. But when I started, learning how to travel and experiencing travel, I've traveled to places, and whenever you go to a place, you always see something new. So you are like, I am going to try this. I am going to try this out. And some of those businesses are working for me. None of the businesses I engage in right now, I ever thought about just by myself. It's by seeing people do them. So Shila, you are very right on that. At the risk of starting to preach again, Ken, your parting shot.
My parting shot. I hope I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are unmuted. You're unmuted.
My parting shot is very simple. Number one, I'm a finance coach. So when we talk about money and traveling things, you know,
Ken instantly dropped out of the chat, and he's back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm a financial coach, and if you still feel that financially you don't see the clear path of how you can do it, you can approach me anywhere. I'm in Ken's Money Matters. I'm in Facebook. You can approach me. I'm in WhatsApp. You can approach me and let's talk about it. I can do financial planning for you, and I can tell you where the money will come from. That's number one. So I can help with financial planning. I can help with the financial advice. And if you're also wondering where you can invest besides land and building a house in Ushago, please approach me. So with any matters finance, because finance is very individualistic and personal, it depends on your circumstances. I know sometimes we may speak like this, but we don't address those individual circumstances. You are free to come and ask for help. Even if you approach Sheila, it's all fine. She will always find me if she needs me. She can tackle most of the stuff. But if it comes to investment issues, just ask her or ask me. We will both be there. She will always find me. Or they can come to you, Logedi, you will find me. That's number one. Yes. Number two, I said I'm going to be saying this very short. I said that yesterday we were talking about life and how short it is. So what are you doing in your 20s? What have you done in your 30s? What are you doing in your 40s? What are you planning for your 50s? Now, if you look at it in that sense, you only have 4 very serious decades, or what I call them, to plan your life. So think about your life in that sense. It becomes a very small thing. And if you want to enjoy your life as a young person, and not when you're crawling on airports and crying about your knees, you need to start traveling now. Because you don't want to be at the airport disturbing young people like us to carry your bags because you did not travel early. So I'm saying there's no more procrastination. Get out there, use all the resources you have, change your mind about traveling, and start traveling now. It's not about money, it's not about anything. Traveling is about exposure. Even when it comes to finance and investments, the reason why we have very narrow view towards finance as a people is again because we don't venture out there. I knew about finance after leaving Kenya. Of course, I started businesses in Kenya, but if I knew the much that I know right now, I would be far away right now. Because I started businesses in Kenya, I did a lot of things when I was young. But I was starting those businesses within the confines of what I knew as a person. So I only knew that in Kenya, this is what can flourish, this can flourish, but I did not think outside the box. So if I had the same information I have right now, in my 20s, early 20s, it would be different for me. And the same thing for a lot of people. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. So we have that narrow view because, again, we don't venture out there. So traveling not only expands your abundance. If you're an investor, it expands your horizon. You start thinking internationally. If you are thinking of being a millionaire in Kenya, you start thinking of being a millionaire in pounds. Somebody like me, I don't talk about being a millionaire in Kenya. I don't talk about being a billionaire in Kenya. I talk about those being a millionaire and a billionaire in Europe. In that sense, my thinking is already quite different. When I'm talking about business, I'm not thinking about business that fits focusing on Kenya. I think about business focusing on Africa, focusing on the world. And that's because I'm now out here. I've gone out there, I've lived in different countries, and I know how it works. So like I'm saying, it's just change your mind about traveling and start now. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait for the moon to align itself. Just get out there, do it when it is imperfect, and it will be fine. So with that, I say thank you to all those who watch, and I say thank you for hosting us.
Perfect. Now, at the risk of disclosure as well, first of all, I just want to appreciate a few comments. There's somebody who saw me freezing, and she says here that Logedi is frozen like a statue. Okay, if any statue looks like me, that statue should be brought down. That statue cannot be allowed to continue standing. A statue that looks like me? No way. Absolutely no way. Thank you very much to everyone who has watched. Thank you very much to everyone who has commented on across our different platforms. It's unfortunate that the only comments that I can bring on the screen are the comments that have been put on Facebook and YouTube on the Writers Guild platforms. But then we have 5 other platforms on where we are going live on this. So I'm very happy that all of you commented. I've seen all your comments. I've asked some of your questions to our guests without pointing them out directly, and very much appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Douglas Logedi. I am the author of Chasing a Bullet. Go and chase that bullet if you want. But most importantly for today, travel. Now, before I let my guests go, I want just to
You muted yourself. Gito, did you mute yourself?
What? Why did I mute myself? I'm that crazy. I'm like the man who slaps himself and expects himself not to fall down. Jesus Christ. Bloody hell. And now my spoon is falling down. Anyway, I like creating a mess. Now, somebody asked me in the morning today, why are you creating a show about money and travel on a writer's channel? And I didn't answer that. And I intentionally left it for the last part of the show. As a writer, one of the things that you need most is experiences. We do not want you to continue bringing us stories about your village and your village alone. Well, your village is authentic. We want to read about your village. But seriously, there is a whole world of 7 billion people out there. Give us those stories as well. So we want you to create different experiences and also write from different perspectives. And we thought we would bring you some 2 of the best to tell you how they manage to travel so that you can learn from them. So I hope you've learned as much as you can. I hope you've captured as much as you can. And for the rest of you, travel. Experiences are priceless. I'm telling you from experience. The experiences of traveling are priceless. Now, next time Gym Coaching team is traveling, I am traveling with them. They already know. My seat on the bus is booked, so you can also start booking yours. Thank you very much. Now, last thing, go and like and subscribe to Ken's Money Matters, because that is just another experience. Ken doesn't know this, but then he created a video recently about the best businesses to do in Kenya. And myself and my friend are already discussing the very first idea that Ken shared on that particular video. So you can go and find the very first business idea that Ken shared. You don't need to watch the whole video. Just go and watch the first 2.5 minutes. You'll have already found out what me and my friend are discussing already. And those are priceless things that you find on that channel. I'm also challenging Ken to visit Cambodia, because somebody has been telling me about Cambodia and I don't know anything about it. And I trust your travel reviews. So go there and tell me about it. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Well, when you go to Spain as well, I want to visit. Is it called? How do you pronounce it? Is it Ibiza, Pizza?
It's actually Abifa. Shila will tell you it's actually different. It's not anything to do with that.
No, the pronunciation is Habifa.
Abifa, yes.
Come on.
Abifa, yes. Don't say Ibiza. Don't say Ibiza. Habifa. I've been there. I've been there, and at the risk of telling people not to go there, I would say I will not go again.
Oh, please don't go there because you said there's no deciding.
Habifa?
Yes.
The letters are I. The letters are I-B-I-Z-A, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How on earth is that read as Habifa?
Okay, let me give you another one. Let me give you another one. Tell me, pronounce for me this one. L-A-N-E-L-L-I.
Lali.
Laneli. It's written Laneli, yeah?
Yes, Laneli.
L-E-L-L-I.
Laneli, something like that.
It's a place in Wales. Wales double L is H, like ha, like so. Okay, pronounce Laneli for me, knowing the double L at the front is H and the double L at the back is H. Can you pronounce it?
It's Hane.
Hogla.
I'm out of my depth.
I went to Wales. He was driving and I was looking for that place. So I kept stopping people and asking, where is Laneli? Where is Laneli? And no one knew. So I had to put it down. And they said, oh,
oh God.
Yeah. So, anyway, you travel in other places.
Reminds me my first time in South Africa. I was going to this place. It's pronounced as Gauteng. I've not even got it right up to now. And I was there asking people, where's Gauteng? which I'm told there's a train called Go Train. Where's the Go Train to go to Gauteng? And then I met a Ugandan. The Ugandan said, oh no, it's pronounced as Gauteng. What? You can't see H in this word. But it's fine.
That's why you need to travel, Logedi. That's why you need to travel, right?
I think I should go to Wales. I'm planning. Okay, also at the risk of telling people all my plans, I've been thinking about the UK a lot, so I should come there sometime soon.
You should
but then, when you go to Wales, remember Wales is not called Wales; it's called Cymru.
Cymru.
Yeah, it's
come on, guys. Come on.
Wales is the name that the English gave them, but themselves they call them Cymru. So when you're in Wales, so when you're in Wales and people are talking Cymru, welcome to Cymru, you're thinking, where is Cymru? Well, you are in Cymru.
Oh God!
You go to Croatia, Avaska, not Croatia.
My whole life has been a lie. And I know I'm not alone. I know the viewers here. We still have people who are viewing. So if they knew all these things, they would have left. But I don't really think I am alone in having lived a lie the whole of my life. Cymru, Avaska,
including myself.
I totally now. Today is the day I admit.
Logedi, yes, that's why you need to tell the people who are asking you the question of writers and why you're discussing money and travel. That's why you need to tell them every single thing is connected to another thing. And this issue of dividing things in between is very wrong. So you have to be aware of how to come to Wales. You have to be aware of how to write. You have to be aware of how to spend the money. All these things are connected, and you have to be aware of how to travel. So every single thing, for me, I think is connected. That rigidity we have, we should stop. That's why I always say, you know what, even careers, we don't change careers just because we think, oh, we shouldn't change. They're not, you should stick to one and you should always stay there. So I think, tell them that, you know what, let's be open-minded, flexible, and free to approach other things and do other things.
Yes. Try things out because there's never any harm in trying. So thank you very much. Yes.
Logedi, before you go, let me mention one thing, just one thing.
Yes.
I was reading about James Bond, the author of James Bond. You know the movie, you've seen the movies, the person that wrote them.
Yes.
He was actually on a holiday and he thought of this spy that travels places. He thought now the James Bond, and he thought, I need to write a story. The first one, the whole story. And he was lying down and he thought something had happened in his hotel room and he thought, let me think of what if a spy did this and a spy going around the world doing this, because James Bond is about traveling the world. And he thought, what am I going to name this? Now, where he was lying down, there was a newspaper article with the name James Bond or something. It was a name that he saw somewhere. And that is how James Bond was born. So when you travel, you never how creativity will strike you. You know, you don't know what you will see. Logedi may come to Wales and he lives and he's saying chasing a bull in Simru, and that's born.
Chasing a Simru, by the way, chasing a Simru sounds interesting. that gentleman is called Ian Fleming, I believe. I think one of the episodes of James Bond was shot in South Africa, and I saw a whole thing about where James Bond came from, and that's actually very true. And this guy actually lost his wallet in the place where he discovered James Bond. So it's a very interesting story. No, don't go watching James Bond right now. You can still stay with us here for a moment. Anyways, so thank you very much, everyone. Thanks very much for staying with us for close to 2 hours. We don't normally do this for 2 hours unless we are talking to very interesting people. And this has gone on for 2 hours, and I bet you we can go on and on. But so I'll see you guys next week. We are thinking about taking a break next week, but we have a lot of pressure to bring you a show on sadness, and people want to talk about being sad. For some reason, people want a show on sadness. I never understand that, but we'll take through that. So I'll confirm on our social media handles whether we'll be on next week or whether we'll be taking a break, because my show manager, June, is attending a very much important event next week. So I don't want to bother her a lot with the show stuff. So we'll think about it next week. Anyway, thank you very much. Have yourselves a lovely night, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night.